If you want to see me use the Destiny palette by Certifeye for the first time, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and I am finally getting to this one. This is a palette, the Destiny palette by Certifeye, and it was sent to me in the exchange that I did with Steph. I sent a whole box of makeup over to Steph in Ireland. I will put her channel right there. And she also sent me a full box of makeup from her side of the world, which is more European Union kind of makeup brands. So I was super happy to receive this one. It was a surprise. We did not know at all what was in each other's boxes. The only thing we knew is that it was going to be 100 euros worth from each of our respective areas as far as where we live on the globe. And I was very fortunate to get this palette, and we are going to dig into it today. Now, I have swatched this palette already, and I will put the swatches video right there. I was impressed with the swatches, really enjoyed doing those, and today I am particularly interested in one shadow, and then I don't know what else I'm going to use with it, but that shadow is Moss, and you'll see my nail color is matching that specific shadow today. And if you want to know where this green nail polish came from, I will also put that video right there. It's a lot of cards, one after the other, but I do want to say, if you ever see a card in one of my videos, you don't have to stop the video and go to the card right away. I'm just letting you know that those are links also in the description box. So it's just letting you know that any kind of background information that I am referencing in the video, I have put those links in the description box. So I just find using thumbnails, I'm a visual person, and I find using thumbnails is helpful in knowing a little bit more context about what I'm referencing. PSA over. Let's get into this palette. I have been so worried about messing up this look because the Moss shadow is so important to me that I've been delaying this. And I think that getting this green nail polish just kind of made me want to do this video sooner than later, both to be able to show the green nail polish and also to be able to show a look with something that I said was important. So I'm officially stalling. That's what I'm doing. So I'm going to grab a brush and we're going to start right away. I'm going to grab a fluffy brush, which is this one. And I'm now realizing that what I'm wearing and the look that I'm going to be doing will not match, but that's okay. Let's just dig right in. I'm not going to stall anymore. And I'm looking at the palette here, and I think I would normally be interested in using one of these colors to go with Moss. I think that those would be expected combinations, but I'm not going to do the expected. I think I'm going to go in with Enchant and then into Moss. Now, the thing with my eye look, though, is I'm not starting with a bare lid. I do have Wheat from the Smashbox Matte Exposure. So this is the color that I have on already to set my primer. So I do already have like a creamy, lightly beige color. And I think that Enchant will go on nicely and not too deep because of that first base shadow, which is the only reason I'm harping on it. Once again, I forgot I don't have a mirror in this palette, so I'm going to be using the mirror from my 9-pan Tarte palette that is still available at on the Tarte website. I did check on during a recent video. I think it's $13 Canadian for a 9-pan palette, and it does have a mirror because obviously that's what I'm using to do my look today. We're going into Enchant, as I showed you earlier. I have loaded the brush and we're going to go right in. Now this is a pretty fluffy crease brush from Quo, but I don't have the exact name because it has rubbed off over time because I use it so darned much. And Quo is a Canadian brand sold at Shoppers Drug Mart. Indeed, I think it is a Shoppers Drug Mart brand. Oh, that feels effortless. Makes me think of a recent Colored Rain look that I did. Nice. Super nice. Okay, I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm planning on doing a pretty basic quick look, so let's just do both sides at the same time today. It's going to be pretty uncomplicated because the day is jam-packed for me. I was actually working on editing another video for this channel. I have a couple of channels actually, and I just felt like I needed a break, and I thought, what better opportunity than to put this nail polish on and to do this eye look. And all I knew sitting down to film was that I wanted to use moss. That was it. Had no extra on my agenda for this beauty look, and hopefully my gut will not steer me wrong with my choices today. A little bit more, just a tad right in here. Okay, does that look relatively even? Maybe a little bit more on the lid. Okay, so now I'm going to take the brush I usually take, which is the angled brush from Sephora. It came in a pack of 5 brushes, and I'll put it down here. And this is the brush that I'm talking about, a nice angled brush. Same shadow, enchant again, tapping off the excess, and I'm just going to stamp to begin with. And then sweep it along. Okay, and I'm going to just take a, this is actually a concealer brush, but it does a good job of just softening up the line. Okay. And that concealer brush, by the way, is from Sephora. It is called the Multitasker Concealer Brush 21. I guess I put more on the other side, on the other eye, and also other side of the brush because I switch sides when I'm switching eyes. Does that look pretty even? Just a tad more. Okay, that looks relatively even. I like the way it is looking. I don't feel like I need to change colors. I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that enchant again. You see how deep it is? I'm just going to use a packing brush and intensify the outer lid. And this is my usual shadow to deepen out the outer corner, and is the full coverage shadow brush from Smashbox. I really quite like it. So I'm just tapping in, did put a little bit loaded on the brush, and I'm just going to go in progressively. I don't want to overload that area of the eye. Better safe than sorry. It's like adding shadow. I don't like having to remove excess. That's always more risky. That is a very pretty look. I mean, I could do a very light color on the inner to center lid and on the brow bone and be done. Like, I mean, this is a very one and done kind of a shadow. That's super. Again, enchant is the color I'm using. Very, very pretty. Now, one thing I do remember from that was too much. One thing that I do remember from the swatches is that moss is a complex color, meaning that it has kind of 2 colors built into it as a matte, And so I'm not sure compared to the finger swatch what it's going to look like as a shadow put on with a brush. Okay, I think I have a little cotton fluff or something in my eye and I cannot find it. They're very, very thin fibers. And it's probably right on my eyeball. If I can keep filming, I will keep filming. So I'm going to go now, I think, into moss and just see what happens. I'm a little nervous, but I think that just a progressive application will do the trick. Now, normally I would go in with my multitasker brush, but I think it's actually going to lay down too much eyeshadow right off the hop. So I'm going to clean off my angled brush that I used earlier for the lower lash line and use that for the inner to center lid. I've done that a number of times and it works quite well. So I'm just wiping off Enchant from the brush, just on a Kleenex. I don't have to do anything fancy because I really didn't put too much of that Enchant color on the brush. And now I'm going to go in to moss very lightly because I want to build it up, and inner to center lid. I think it will layer nicely, but again, I've not used that shadow before. And it's more powdery than Enchant. A lot picked up on the brush the second time. And I'm looking down so that I go high up enough in the crease. I have to be careful when I do inner lid colors because I find that when the color is too deep for me, it looks very strange on my eye. Some people do a great job, and maybe it's just because I haven't figured out how to do it, but I find that I can go overboard pretty easily. Just picking up the kick up. I'm going in one more time, maybe two. Okay, it's behaving differently from when I swatched. It's a lot, it looked almost like color bleed off the swatch, and so I wasn't sure if the color would stay consistent, but it seems to do really well on a brush. So I'm going to keep going. I really, really like this color. And I think that I'm going to add just a little bit more of that Enchant with the same fluffy brush on the inner lid here. I think it's going to balance out moss better if I put just a little bit more of that reddish burgundy. Yeah, I like that more. So we are going to go with that. And I think that, not right up to the crease, but I think I'm going to use my finger to intensify moss on the inner lid. That is definitely not something I thought I was going to do, so that's interesting. Okay, I'm taking my ring finger and just putting a little bit of moss, and I'm going to just try to tap it on the lower part of my inner lid. Okay, I think that's just the intensity that I want. Like I said, I'm not going for a really vibrant look today. I don't shy away from those, but that's just not what I want to do today. And now for the brow bone, I think it's a tie between Magician and Tonic. And I think I'm going to do Tonic, the more goldy one, because I have used a lot of pinks and lilacs on my brow bone, so I'll do something different. And I will use a Quo brush called the Definer Shadow Brush, and that is the type of brush that I use on my brow bone. Now going into Tonic, as I said I would, just really lightly, just on the tip of the brush, and I'm going to go on this side. And I'm just going to do the brow bone. And I think it's going to look good. I'm almost tempted. Errant hair here. I'm almost tempted to use it as a topper on moss. Oh, decisions, because I really want to showcase moss, but I think it would look good with a topper. Oh, what the heck. Let's try it out. So I'm going to use my ring finger again and just try to top it off with tonic. Just for a little bit of shine. I can go some more. It hasn't completely covered it up. If Magician and Tonic can be good toppers, that would be fantastic, because it would allow each one of the mattes in the palette, because the palette is mostly mattes, to be multifunctional. Okay, I think that enhanced moss, it did not cover it up. So that went really, really well. Might just add just a tiny bit more, without taking away from the underlying color. Okay, I don't want to do more because it's going to wreck it, I bet you. So let's do what I did now here on the other side, and going back again with my angled brush, which I really do love quite a bit. Got the shadow on my brush, and we're going to go right in. Of course, the second side always takes less time because I know what to expect. So that's kind of nice. And looking down, so I get up high enough up in the crease. Mimicking the other side. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Tonic is going to soften it up like it did on the other side, so I can definitely go a bit deeper, and I think I have achieved what I'm hoping to do. Just needs a little bit more closer to the inner lid. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm going to go in again with tonic. And it is a nice kind of goldy color. And just tapping it on top of moss. Instead of having to go back 4 or 5 times, now that I know how it behaves, it's a lot faster. I like this. Okay, now we have to do the brow bone. Going back to the same brush, going into tonic, tapping it off, and let's see. My curly hair is all over the place today. Well, curly, wavy hair is all over the place today. About the same. That pretty much looks like it. I feel like putting the same tonic on the inner corner. And for that purpose, I'm actually going to use a very tiny brush from Morphe called MB26. And let's go right into the inner corner. When I'm using inner corner brushes that are pretty small, I always go to the corner. If it's a square pan, I go right to the corner, because I figure I never want to take my brushes and mess up the brushes by going to the edge of a pan. But these little brushes are a good opportunity to use up that shadow. without having to repress. I'm going to put a little bit more on this side. I'm really liking this as inner corner, as in big time. That is really, really pretty. I'm happy that I used tonic. Okay, I really, really like this look. It's a 3 shadow look, super, super simple. Just used a gradient with the primary color, which was Enchant. Yeah, I don't want to use more shadows. 3 shadows was plenty. And I think that I am going to now select what I'm going to use to finish up the look. And yeah, let's talk about it once I am done with the finished look. Here is the finished look, and I just want to quickly talk about what it is that I used. I ended up using 3 liners from Urban Decay, and you can see them all right here. I have 0, which is what I have on my upper waterline. Then I have, we'll talk about this one first. I put Mildew in my waterline and realized it was kind of clashing with Moss in the Certifeye Destiny palette. So I ended up putting Stash over top. So Mildew is mostly in my waterline, lower waterline, and then Stash is more along the lower lash line. And I think that I was able to kind of fix it up so that it's not too noticeable that I've got that mildew that doesn't quite fit. And when I look at myself in the mirror here, I just need to intensify it here a little bit to match the other side. Okay, so those are the 3 liners from Urban Decay, and I have very little time left with this 0, which again I use on my upper waterline, and I cannot wait for this little guy to be done. I have predicted that I would be done with it for months now, and it's that little liner that keeps on ticking. 2 more things that I added to my eye look are 2 mascaras. These are the same mascaras that I have been using. This one is for the upper lash line, and it is the Sumptuous Extreme by Estee Lauder. And I also used on my lower lashes the High Impact by Clinique. And I used 1 coat of this one on the bottom lashes, and then 2 coats of the Sumptuous Extreme on my upper lashes. Then for lips, I used a Marc Jacobs Deluxe Mini in Slow Burn, and that is the lipstick, and that's the exact same lipstick as I've been wearing this whole video. I just reapplied, and I don't know what's going on here. I think I had a reaction to a Vichy foundation. I was using a powder foundation if I was going to change my lipstick for multiple videos, I would just kind of do the powder foundation around my mouth. And I think that the powder foundation was just drying out the skin around my lips. So I've got a little something there, but it has nothing to do with this lipstick. And finally, I did top off the whole look using the All Nighter Setting Spray by Urban Decay. I'm really, really happy. For first impressions, not having tried any of the shadows on my eyes at this point, I think that the 3 that I chose worked out beautifully. And again, those were 3 down here, 2 down here and 2 up top. Enchant, Moss, and Tonic right up here. And Tonic, as a reminder, I used on my inner to center lid and also on my brow bone and inner corner. Really happy with the mattes in this palette. They are pigmented but buildable, and you can spread them around your eye, no problem. Eyelid, no problem. Like I said though, I did have my primer set, so this was not on a tacky primer, it was on a set primer. And I think for such a deep shadow, you saw me just go a few times in and get it where I wanted. Now, of course, I did use a very fluffy brush. It would not have been the same if I'd used a more precise crease brush like this one, which would be the more typical crease brush. Look at how fluffy that is. So when I'm not sure about a matte, I've never used that matte, I'm going to go with the fluffier brush. And in this instance, I think this was really the right thing to do. So aside from that, I think we're done. I hope you enjoyed my first impressions using the Destiny palette by Certifeye. Let me know what you think of the look. I appreciate your comments. I read through all of them. It really helps me understand what it is that you think of how I approach these new palettes. And with that, I'll say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But for now, take care.